A very good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the second chapter of chemistry, that is acid, bases and salts. In this chapter we will study about the properties of acids, bases and salts, how they can be formed and how can we identify them. So in this PPT I have explained everything, how we can easily identify acid, bases and salts, how do they react with metals, with metalloids as well as with metal oxides. Now here I have given the properties of acids. Now how can we identify whether the given substance is an acid or a base? From these properties we can easily identify if they are sour in taste, it means that given substance is acid. If they turn blue litmus red, they are acids. They always provide H plus ions in aqueous solution. Now what do you mean by aqueous solution? As you already are aware of this, that aqueous solution is that which is always made with the help of water. Then acids always corrode metals. If any drop of acid will fall on a metal, it will undergo corrosion. Now, how can you classify these acids? They are classified into two categories, strong acids and weak acids. Now, strong acids, I have given three examples, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid and nitric acid. While the weak acids are acetic acid and oxalic acid. These are the few examples, but there are so many strong and weak acids found. Now, every strong acid can be converted into weak acid by just diluting it with the help of water. If you add few drops of water into any of the concentrated acid, it will become diluted. So from these properties we can easily identify that acids always turn blue litmus red, that you have studied in the lower classes, but this is a new property that they produce H plus ions in aqueous solution that we will study later on in this chapter. Here in this figure what is given, that is blue litmus. This is a blue litmus paper. If a drop of acid is added over it, it will turn into red. Now next are the properties of bases. Now bases can be identified from acids from these properties if we have been provided with two solutions, both seems to be colorless, but we can identify if any solution tastes bitter, it means it is a base. If any solution turns red litmus blue, it will be a base. And bases always provide OH minus ions in aqueous solution. Minus sign should be put above OH. It always produce aqueous solution. Now they are soapy to touch. Again we can classify the bases into two categories, that is strong bases and weak bases. Here I have given two examples of strong bases, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, while the weak base is ammonium hydroxide and calcium hydroxide. So you should learn these formulas. These are very important. Sodium hydroxide, because the symbol of sodium is Na, and hydroxide OH. So we can write down NaOH, KOH, symbol of potassium is K. You are already aware, you have studied it in the lower classes. Then ammonium hydroxide and calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide is also known as slaked lime. Now here in this figure I have shown that we can test the acid, base and neutral solution by using the pH paper. pH paper is a yellow colored strip. It is a dry paper. When we will add this dry strip in a beaker containing acid solution, it will always provide red color. While if pH paper is added into the base, it becomes purple in color. So we can easily identify, that is acid will always provide red color to the pH paper and bases will provide purple color to the pH paper. While if pH paper is added in a neutral solution, like we can simply take tap water, it is neither acidic nor basic, so it will become light green in color. is shown here. So you can easily understand that is acid, basis and neutral solution can be identified by using the pH paper. Now another important definition is some of the bases are soluble in water. We can call them as alkalis. For example, here sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide both are alkalis because they are soluble in water. Next, what are indicators? It's very difficult to identify acid and bases, so another class of chemicals can be used by us to identify acid and bases, and these chemicals are known as indicators. Substances which change their color or smell in different type of substances are known as indicators. Now, how can we classify these indicators? We can classify them into three categories. One are natural indicators, synthetic indicators, and olfactory indicators. Here I have given a table which is indicating the names of different indicators. Four indicators are given here: litmus solution, then methyl orange, and phenolphthalein, and methyl red. Now these solutions will provide different color in acidic and basic medium. Here in this table it is shown that litmus solution, if any drop of litmus solution is added in acidic solution, it will provide red color. While if it is added into the basic solution, it will turn blue. Similarly, I can give you this example of phenolphthalein. If phenolphthalein is added in acidic medium, it remains colorless. While in basic medium, it will turn pink. Now, what are natural indicators? Substances found in nature in plants. That is, they are obtained directly from the plants. Here I have given example of turmeric powder, which we are using in our kitchen in making vegetables. This turmeric powder is mainly a natural indicator because it is obtained from the plants and it has antiseptic properties also. Now it turns red in base while it remains yellow in an acid. For example, you must have seen if curry will fall on your white cloth, it will remain yellow. But when you rub the soap over it, it will immediately turn into red color. So because soap is basic in nature. Now this is a step which I have provided. pH of the different solutions can be judged by using the pH paper. Now pH, for example, if pH comes out from this strip, we can easily identify. If pH comes out to be 4, it will be neutral. If pH comes out to be 9, then it will be basic. If pH comes out to be 1, 2, then that will be acidic solution. And strong acid is having pH 0, which is hydrochloric acid, while the strong base, which is sodium hydroxide, it has pH value about 14. Now the second type of indicators are synthetic indicators. Synthetic means which are basically chemical substances. Here two examples are given in your NCERT book also: methyl orange and phenolphthalein. Methyl orange turns red in acid while it remains yellow in base. So we can identify the acid and base by using this methyl orange. Similarly, acid and base can be identified by using this indicator phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein will always turn pink in a base while it remains colorless in acid. So I think you can easily identify the acid and base by using these two indicators, methyl orange and phenolphthalein. These are available in our chemistry lab, and I will perform this experiment on the reopening of school. Then olfactory indicators. Different odor is produced by the indicators in acids and bases. For example, here the two examples are given: vanilla and clove oil. Vanilla, as you are already aware, it is used in ice creams also, and we can put it while making cake and other things also, just for the flavor and for odor. So order increases, vanilla order increases in acid while it produces no smell in a base. Same is with clove oil. If clove oil drops are added into an acid, the order increases while it decreases in a base. So that was about the indicators which you will come across in your NCERT. Next, I'm going to explain about the chemical properties of acids and bases. Now, students, you have to learn the chemical properties by writing these chemical equations in your notebook. Reactions of acids with metals. The first reaction which we are going to do today is how do acids react with metals. Now, whenever there will be any reaction between acid and metal, always two substances are formed, that is salt and hydrogen. That is, acids will always release which gas? Hydrogen. This you should note down. Hydrochloric acid and zinc I have taken. Zinc is a metal. So whenever zinc is made to react with hydrochloric acid, it will give rise to zinc chloride, ZnCl2, plus the gas releases hydrogen. Now hydrogen is a very important and highly combustible gas also. Now second is reaction of base with metals. That was about acids release hydrogen and make salt. Same is that when bases are made to react with metals, they also form salt and hydrogen. Here I have given the example of base sodium hydroxide, which is made to react with the zinc metal. It will give rise to Na2ZnO2. The name of this compound is sodium zincate. You can write down in words also. Sodium zincate along with hydrogen gas is formed. Now in both the cases, whenever acids or bases are made to react with metals, the gas releases hydrogen along with the formation of salt. So I think you will easily learn it. In both the cases, the hydrogen is released. However, these reactions are not possible with all the metals. Sometimes the question can come, what is sodium zincate? So you can easily write down, learn its formula, Na2ZnO2. That is, it is formed whenever zinc metal is made to react with alkali sodium hydroxide. Now the hydrogen gas which was released in the previous equations, it can be tested with the help of this experiment. Testing of hydrogen I have explained. Here in this test tube, what is taken? Zinc granules. And what is added? I have taken the sulfuric acid. But you can take hydrochloric acid also. But the reaction will be fast. In this case, whenever zinc is made to react with sulfuric acid, the compound formed is zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. Now this hydrogen can be passed through this delivery tube into a trough containing soap solution. Because the bubble of the soap which is formed, it contains hydrogen in it, and it can be easily tested by bringing a candle. Burning candle, we can mainly test the hydrogen. This soap bubble will burst with a popping sound. Like when the popcorns are formed, same type of sound can be formed. It means the hydrogen always burn with pop sound, and it can be tested by passing it through the soap solution. Now next is reaction of acids with metal carbonates and bicarbonates. You must be aware carbonates and bicarbonates. Carbonate and bicarbonate. Bicarbonates we are using in our kitchen also, that is sodium bicarbonate, which is also known as baking powder, which we are adding into the different dishes, bicarbonate. So it can be added while making the cake also. So how do these acids react with metal carbonates? Here you have to learn these two reactions. Hydrochloric acid is made to react with sodium carbonate. I have given the two salts of carbonate as well as bicarbonate of sodium, Na2CO3. Na2CO3 can be taken. Now what will be formed? What is formed? Salt, carbon dioxide and water. These are the three substances. When carbonates and bicarbonates react with hydrochloric acid, they always release salt, carbon dioxide and water. Now in both the reactions, sodium chloride, carbon dioxide and water, we can make the reaction in the form of balance equation by multiplying sodium chloride by 2, because here the number of atoms of sodium are 2. So the first equation is a balance equation because the number of both the atoms, as we have done in the first chapter of chemical reaction, balancing of equation, you must have to balance the equations. Atoms of reactants and products should be equal on both the side. Here you can easily see 2 atoms of sodium, 2 atoms of sodium, 1 atom of chlorine on the right side and 1 atom of chlorine on left side. So all the atoms are equal, so it is a balanced chemical equation. Now the second equation, hydrochloric acid is made to react with sodium bicarbonate. It will give rise to sodium chloride, carbon dioxide and water. Now in both the cases, the gas evolved is carbon dioxide. This is the formula, structural formula of bicarbonate I have given. Bicarbonate is also having HCO3. So one carbon is attached with 3 oxygen atoms. 2 oxygen atoms are having double bond and 1 is attached in the form of this structure. So HCO3. I have given the formula of bicarbonate. So from these reactions, we can easily learn how the carbonates and bicarbonates react with acid, and the gas released in both the cases is carbon dioxide. Now we can easily test this carbon dioxide in the laboratory. How can you test? For testing the carbon dioxide, we can use lime water. If the carbon dioxide evolved is passed through lime water, which is colorless solution. In the initial test tube, I have taken colorless solution of lime water, which is known as calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice. Now, when the carbon dioxide is made to pass through this solution, what will happen to it? It will turn milky. This is the confirmatory test for formation of carbon dioxide. If the lime water turns milky, it means the gas evolved is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide will always turn lime water milky. This is the test for checking of carbon dioxide. We can easily check in the laboratory. It is given in your NCERT book in activity 2.5. Next reactions are neutralization reactions. These reactions, student, you have studied in lower classes also, but here I have taken the simple and concentrated acid as well as concentrated base. One acid and one base, when they are made to react with each other, they will always give rise to salt and water. For example, hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide, when they are made to react with each other, they will give rise to sodium chloride and water. That is, salt and water are formed. Now, this reaction between an acid and a base is always known as neutralization reaction because it involves H plus ions of acid and OH minus ions of base. Second reaction, again I have taken here, another acid can be taken, sulfuric acid is made to react with sodium hydroxide. The compound formed is sodium sulfate plus water. Now this reaction can be easily understood. I have given here the example, that is the honey bee. It contains an acid into it. Have you noticed, if honey bee bites, it leaves inside our body, that is an acid. The name of that acid is methanoic acid, or it is also known as formic acid. The formula of formic acid is HCOOH. This is known as formic acid. Now, whenever there is acid released into the body by the bite of honeybee, it causes lot of irritation. Irritation is caused on our hand. How can we neutralize it? If you immediately rub any of the base which is available For example, if honeybee bites, you can rub the sodium bicarbonate which is available in your kitchen on your hand and it will neutralize it, because sodium bicarbonate is a base and it will neutralize the effect of acid, and we can get relief from irritation which is caused by the bite of honeybee. Next are the reactions of acids with metal oxides. Now, what are metal oxides? You are already aware that metals are like calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. All these are metals. We can take any of the metal oxide. For example, here I have taken the metal oxide, calcium oxide. Now, this type of the calcium oxide, it is obtained from nature in the form of whitish gray material, that is known as calcium oxide. When it is made to react with any of the acid, what is formed? Again, salt and water. Now, what is salt? Calcium chloride is a salt. This is a salt of calcium along with water which is formed. Similarly, some non-metallic oxides can also react with bases. Now here the base taken is calcium hydroxide. Wherever there will be hydroxide, that is known as a base. Whenever it is made to react with, base is made to react with non-metallic oxide. Here I have taken non-metallic oxide, carbon dioxide. So it is a non-metallic oxide. What is formed? That is calcium carbonate along with water is formed. So we can say whenever acids are made to react with metal oxide, salt and water is formed. Similarly, when non-metallic oxides are made to react with bases, again salt and water is formed. So you should learn these equations in words as well as in the form of symbols and formula. That is, calcium oxide and calcium hydroxide are made to react with acid or base. They always provide salt and water. Then the next example which I have given, acid and bases, what they have in common, that is given in the next part of NCERT, that acid and bases have something common in them. How can we test what is common in them? Here an activity is given. We can take a beaker. What is taken? Either we can take acid or we can take base. Here I have taken base, sodium hydroxide. A cork is taken and on that cork I have embedded 2 iron nails. After adding 2 iron nails, they are mainly connected with a wire, 6-volt battery and a bulb. Now what will happen? When you switch on the key, you will find that the sodium hydroxide will dissociate into its ions. What are the ions forms? Na plus and OH minus ion, and the bulb will start glowing. When the bulb glows, we can easily judge that sodium hydroxide has been changed into its ions. So instead of taking sodium hydroxide, we can also take hydrochloric acid, HCl. Then the ions formed will be H plus and Cl minus ions. Again, in that case also the bulb will glow. So what is common in them, student? We can easily note down that whenever hydrochloric acid is undergoing electrolysis, it will give rise to H plus ions, and whenever sodium hydroxide is undergoing electrolysis, it will give rise to OH minus ions. So what is common in them? That is, acids and bases have H plus and OH minus ions common. Hydrochloric acid will produce H plus ions, but sodium hydroxide will always produce OH minus ions. H plus ions are responsible for acidic properties, while OH minus ions are responsible for basic properties of a base. So this thing is common, that every acid and base on passing electric current, it will dissociate into its ions. These ions are responsible for glowing of bulb. Instead, if you are taking glucose, or we can take alcohol also, will the bulb glow in that case? No, because they will not be dissociating into their ions. They will remain in the form of their molecules. That is why we can say that acid and bases will ionize on passing electric current through them. That is the common property in acids and bases. Or whenever you dissolve them in water, they undergo ionization. Now what will happen when you dissolve acid and bases in water? Acids will always produce H plus ions whenever they are dissolved in water. Bases will always produce OH minus ions whenever you are dissolving them in water. Here I have given these two examples. H plus ions are not stable, so they immediately react with another molecule of water to form H3O plus ion. This ion is known as hydronium ion because H plus ions immediately react with another water molecule to form hydronium ion. Similarly, hydrochloric acid whenever dissolved in water, so H plus ions react with water to form what type of ions? Hydronium ions plus chloride ions. Cl minus ion is chloride ion. H plus ions cannot exist alone, but they always exist in the form of H3O plus ions. Now what are bases? When any of the base is dissolved in water, it will produce OH minus ions. So on dissolving sodium hydroxide in water, it will give rise to Na plus and OH minus ion. Here I have given another activity. What happens when sodium chloride is made to react with sulfuric acid? It will give rise to sodium sulfate and hydrochloric acid, or hydrogen chloride gas can be formed. This is given in activity 2.9. So we can easily form this gas, that is salt along with hydrochloric acid is formed. This preparation of HCl can be tested with the help of this figure. Here I have taken sodium chloride. What is added into it? Sulfuric acid. The previous equation which we have done, what is formed? Sodium sulfate along with HCl gas. Now how can you test this gas? That is it HCl is dissociating into H plus and Cl minus ions or not? If you are passing this gas on a dry litmus paper, it will not provide any color to the litmus paper. But if you wet this litmus paper, blue litmus paper, and you will make it near the delivery tube, you will find that blue litmus will turn red. Why? Because on coming in contact with the wet litmus paper, this HCl will break down into its ions. What are the ions forms? H plus and Cl minus ions. So here we can say that any acid, whenever it comes in contact with water, it will dissociate into its ions. HCl on dissolving in water, it will dissociate into H plus and Cl minus ions, and what will be the result? It will turn blue litmus red. So that was about acids and bases. Next is acid should be added to water and not water to acid. So students, it's a very important precaution that we have to take, that while mixing acid along with water, we should never put water to acid, but we should add acid to water because it's a highly exothermic reaction. If acid is added to water, the heat generated may cause the mixture to splash out and cause burns because this reaction is highly exothermic. Now this is the beaker containing acid. We should never add water to acid, otherwise the acid will splash out of the beaker and it can fall on your hands because the highly exothermic reaction means lot of heat energy is evolved and it can burn your clothes as well as skin also. So we should take extraordinary precaution that never add water to acid, but acid should be added to water. So students, most of the reactions we have covered in this PPT. better you can view these slides and try to solve the question answers which are given on page number 22 and 25 of your NCERT book, and try to write down these equations by practicing it one or two times in your notebook. Thank you.